This is a clip from the Chris Brake Show podcast.
Hey, what's up? This is Breezy.
Hey, hello. This is Chris Brake. And
Hey, Chris, what's up?
oh, then and John Rapp over there.
Hey, Breezy, what's up?
What's happening?
Not much.
All right, I think it's sorry. We're checking the levels right now, real quick.
Yeah, sorry, my connection isn't super great because I'm in Brown County.
Oh, nice. So you're back in town.
Yep, in town for 2 days.
I got a problem with a lot of people in Indianapolis who just seem to complain constantly about how there's nothing going on here or how hard it is for local bands to get started, and like Indiana, I mean, just people who just hate Indiana and they want to leave, and they say that there's no scene and they can't get anything going. And you are the complete opposite of that. You break that mold.
Yeah.
Like you
well,
got.
I know. I will say that the music industry 10 years ago in Indianapolis is a lot different than it is now. You know, the loss of something like IndianapolisMusic.net hurt Indianapolis music quite a bit. And so when we first started out, there was, it wasn't a Twitter, Facebook, instant world also. And I think in the positives of that, it's like we find a lot of fans that way, but it also means that there are a million bands out there. People can record albums really cheap, and so there's a lot of bands in competition.
What is
on top of that?
What is IndianapolisMusic.net?
It was exactly. It was a website that a long time ago in Indianapolis, a lot of music people used, and it was started by Matt Fetcher, who actually doesn't live in Indianapolis anymore. I think Fetcher started it. And a lot of the guys have kind of moved on or had kids and moved to other cities since then, and it kind of died out. But it was like a huge thing. It was, MySpace was still around during that time, but it was pre-Facebook, all this stuff, and they did an MP3 compilation CD for Indianapolis. Oh. And this is back in the time when Otis Gibbs was still living in Indianapolis, and Rhymefest was just blowing up. It was like before he wrote the Jesus Walks song, and so there was quite a bit going on in Indianapolis. And they made this MP3. We played a show for the MP3 thing. We really didn't even have a business being on. We had no real fans at the time, and we lucked out. We got on it with those guys, and Dave Lindquist from the Star saw us there, and a handful of people from the Nouveau saw us there, and within a month, we got a lot of press out of that, and that kind of is what started us playing in Indianapolis and surrounding area. Now, the difference between us and most bands, though, is we decided early on we weren't going to oversaturate the market. We weren't going to play Indianapolis 4 times a month, And I think that was an advantage for us in a lot of ways too. We saw early on kind of the big picture that we had to get out of Indianapolis to gain a larger fan base.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think a lot of people just are constantly playing and, yes, oversaturating. But I don't know, you guys, I think that another thing that makes it hard for other bands in Indianapolis is that, they suck,
Well, I mean, I can't speak very well for the music in Indianapolis anymore because I haven't lived there. I mean, I've lived in Brown County for a while now, but also I've been on tour full time for 8 years. I'm home very little. But I will say that when we come home to do a homecoming show, I have a hard time. I always email all my friends, or at least my friends who I thought I consider in like the music world in Indianapolis. A lot of them are moms and dads now and don't go to as many shows. But I ask them, who's the band? Who's the band that's, blown up right now? Who's the local band we should have open for us? And it's like crickets in response. So a lot of times, like this last time, we just brought Dom Flemons from the Carolina Chocolate Drops to him open for us because it was a situation where, like, there is no Indianapolis band that I know of. There are a handful of them that are big enough where they could do their own show. That that it would be an insult to invite them to be our opener for that show. Also, but I just don't know the bands.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bad bands out there. I don't think Indianapolis has a high market in them by any means.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of good, but there's bad music everywhere.
Well, you guys, I'm just trying to figure out what made you guys so successful as opposed to other Indianapolis bands who are trying to do it and they keep complaining about it.
We gave up everything and we didn't complain.
Yeah, you guys.
We got rid of our home. We lived in a van. We were homeless for years, doing it that way, living in the basement of Flava Dave's house and living like hobos. And
it takes a lot of
quit
hard
our
work.
day jobs and did it all. And,
Lot
everyone's like,
of
"Oh, you
hard
guys
work.
really lucked out." But it's like, well, actually, we gave up our day jobs. We had good paying day jobs that we liked. I worked for the university, and Rev worked for the local PBS station there. But we kind of saw the big picture and figured, it was time. I think we did it at the right time also.
How many years?
Back when gas was a little bit cheaper. I don't know how real young bands do it anymore, quite honestly.
How many
financially.
years? How many years have you guys been doing it in a band full time?
We have been touring full time for 8 years this June.
And you guys do Chris was saying you do 300 shows a year. Is that right?
Yeah, we've been doing 250 shows a year.
That is a
since
lot.
then. It is. This year, I think we'll do a little bit less. We're just doing more quality shows. We have bigger shows, so we can make more money playing less shows now. Plus, we have so many travel days because we do so much Europe stuff and bigger festivals where we have to fly to and stuff like that. But yeah, we tour a lot. That's for sure.
And
it's not for everybody too. A lot of people they love playing music, and there's nothing wrong with people who want to stay in their hometown and play music and work a day job and have a family at home. And kudos to them, but it's not the life for me. Being on the road is for me, and it's easy for me because I'm doing it with my husband, obviously. But
yeah, that's your advantage right there. Is because we've had
exactly.
when we were in a band. Very common thing, which probably happens with lots of other bands, is that they miss their girlfriend or their girlfriend's complaining because they're not there. They have something tying them down.
Right.
Whereas you two are in it together. So
yeah, well, we are on our third drummer, so it is a step, definitely.
It seemed that's what happened with Jamie. Is he just?
Oh yeah, I mean he has a little boy now.
Yeah, he wanted to be with his family.
yeah, so absolutely. But it's the road is not for everyone, and I think that anybody who thinks that they might like it should at least give it a try. But I think the majority of people will go, you know what, that's crazy. There are disadvantages to it as well, and I miss a lot of birthdays of my nieces and nephews I don't like to miss and things like that. And Rev and I had our 10-year wedding anniversary last year, and we had to play a show on that day. But but on the other hand, also we travel around the world and play music and make a living doing it, and own our own home and are able to live and vacation a little bit and do whatever we really want. And that was the ultimate goal.
Yeah,
I have no complaint.
Do you guys ever just when you're on the road, what does that do to a marriage? Just being.
Well, I mean, it's
constantly.
easy for us. We're always together. Occasionally we'll do a tour bus tour, but usually we do a 15-passenger van and we pull a trailer with our gear and stuff. And that way, every night we have our own hotel room, which gives us a little bit more sanity. We prefer it that way. We'd rather travel and see stuff during the day and then be able to sleep in a hotel room instead of in a bunk on a tour bus.
So how many people
travel?
Is a little bit different. How many people travel with you?
Well, it's the band, so the three of us, and then we have 2 to 3 crew, depending on the tour.
Okay,
so 5 or 6 of us.
Do you guys ever have to pick a certain date night or something out of the week to get away from everyone?
No, not really. I mean, we have days off on tour, but man, our crew and our drummer now Ben, they're our best friends, so we like spending time with them. It's very rare. I know it's weird.
That is
kind of
weird.
Bands that hate each other. We have toured with huge bands, and they all hate each other, and they travel in different tour buses. But we're all, great friends and get along really well. And it's hard to find the person who wants to live that life and is built for travel, because there's a lot of people who are great musicians, amazing musicians, but they are not cut out for touring. And it's hard to find a combination.
Happy birthday, by the way. It was your birthday a couple days ago, right?
It was, yeah. We drove all night and got home for my birthday, and Rev had a little surprise party waiting on me.
Oh, that's very sweet.
We got here, so. Yep.
Okay, here's a couple questions. Do you guys make the craziest fucking faces I've ever seen while you're playing your show? Do you guys ever look in the mirror and come up with weird faces to make?
No, people asked me that question before. It's funny. We did a contest on this tour, asking people to take photos at shows and hashtag Big Damn Band on Instagram. And I was looking through them because I have to choose the winner. The winner gets a signed washboard by the band. And I said to Rev, I'm like, man, I make some weird faces. He's like, did you not know that? I'm like, I mean, people always come up to me after the show and they're like, do that face. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But I think it just comes natural to me when I'm playing, I'm kind of in the zone and
That's very cool.
You also, another thing about your stage presence is those boots you always wear, the red boots. And I just read that somebody stole those.
Yeah, when we were playing in San Antonio on this tour, we went to the Alamo because a couple of our crew had never been there. We go every time we play in San Antonio. And while we were in the Alamo, someone broke into our van and stole my boots. Now, what you don't know is that I carry 4 pairs of red boots with me at all times. So they stole my favorite pair, but I did have 3 backup pairs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's the first time we've been robbed in Europe. We've had our a lot of stuff stolen over there, but this is actually the first time that's happened to us in the States.
That's
so
terrible.
We have lucked out. We have lucked out, that's for sure, because almost every band I know has been robbed in some way. The world is a dark place sometimes. You gotta cops and thieves, and they're all out there. So
sons of bitches.
Yep, you gotta look out for them.
I've noticed that a lot of people that I've seen now are picking up the washboard. A lot of women are now picking up washboards and playing them.
Yeah, I've got a lot of people come out to our show like, oh, I decided to pick up the washboard because of you. And stuff.
How do you feel like being an inspiration now?
It's cool. I've got a lot of kids and stuff that pick it up, and there's also a lot of people that see it and think it's easy, and it's easy to make noise on it, but to make it sound great is a little bit different. But they're definitely, it's a thing right now. People are playing washboards, and a majority of them try to open for us for every show across America. Seems like every night our opening band, the promoter's like, you'll never believe who we booked. They've got a washboard player. It's like, oh, shocking.
Oh, God. You kind of have to mix it up, though.
Yeah.
Like, I know I saw you, who opened for you guys? I saw you the Vogue a while ago, and it was Creepin' Charlie and, was it Murder by Death, I think?
Yeah, I think so. We had Murder by Death one year. I think it was them together.
Yeah, and it seemed like they were, like, everybody was kind of switching it up and not playing exactly the way I expect. You know what I mean? Like, the sound that I've heard from them before didn't sound same when they played. Yeah, like they weren't trying to step on people's toes, and everyone was kind of doing a different sound and not trying to sound like the band that's coming up next.
Yeah, I loved Creepin' Charlie. They were one of my favorite bands from Indy back in the day when we...
Are they still doing it?
Shelby Kelly, too. I don't know. They had like a reunion show not that long ago, but I don't know if they're still... I know Shelby Kelly's still making music. And, but really, he makes some amazing art. He's done so many like T-shirt designs and logo designs for us. He's one of my favorite artists, really.
We have a mutual friend, because I've always been fascinated with like the religious views, that I hear. I haven't heard yours too much, but like the Rev, on some of his albums, he writes little things about organized religion and things like that.
Yeah.
And I've never heard you guys actually talk about what religion you were raised in.
Well, it's a funny story. I mean, my parents are Catholic, and I went to Catholic school for the early part of my life, and I don't really consider myself Catholic. I don't belong to any organized religion, but I was briefly Mormon, which is a unknown thing that a lot of people. And actually, I was Mormon when I met Rev in the beginning. So a lot of people don't know that. We met through friends who were mutual Mormons. Rev was never and is not a Mormon, but his my best friend and his best friend were sisters.
That's hilarious.
They come from an LDS family, so.
Yeah, you don't hear about too many people actually joining the Mormon. Usually it's people going the other way.
Yeah, I was 17 years old. I think you go through a thing in life around that age, and a very cute Mormon missionary came knocking on my door. So it was short-lived, but I made a lot of really great friends during that time. Sometimes I think that it kind of saved me, because it was like the years that most teenagers start partying heavy and those first couple of years of college and stuff like that. And I actually end up doing more like charity work with the Mormons and hanging out. And I think it was a good time for me, actually, in that time. I don't really believe in the religion, but I have a lot of love for Mormons. I mean, I think they're good people.
Did you ever go door knocking?
No.
Wait, is that a man thing?
I was never a missionary.
It might be a man
Well, I mean, some members of the church do it too, but it's not like Jehovah's Witnesses. Like, they actually, when boys are 19, they go on missions in the Mormon church. So they do that for like 2 years, and then some girls choose to do it when they're 21 and stuff. But
I've always been fascinated with the undergarments. I've never actually known if that's true.
I've seen the holy underwear. I've never wore it, but I've seen it.
So that is true, then.
All right, confirmed by Breezy Peyton.
It is. It is confirmed. So I dated many a Mormon boys before Reverend Peyton.
Oh,
so,
God.
Yeah.
So you saw him firsthand then?
Yeah.
Another thing I want to ask you about is I always found you very, very, very sexy. And then I noticed that, like, over the years, you all of a sudden lost a whole, like, shit ton of weight.
Yep.
Like, what made you, like, why did you do that? Did you feel, like, pressured at all because people in the industry tend to...
No, I mean, I think I was a little bit tired of reviews being like, this band's so awesome, and you'll never believe it because it's got a chunky girl in it, or it's always like, it was like a compliment, but a little sleight of hand, like this, they're a couple and they're boisterous, round, things like that.
We are called the big damn band.
It is true. Neither of us are very big anymore, but
that's impressive.
Rev's lost a ton too, but I guess it's been almost 3 years, maybe 2.5 years since I started just making a life change, and it all basically was diet. I'm insulin resistant, which is kind of like being diabetic, but I've been that way my whole life. And finally, I met with a dietitian before I headed out on the road full time and lost my good university insurance. And they were like, "Oh, well, you should probably eat this way and you'd feel better." And that's a lot easier said than done when you're living in a van and eating ramen noodles every day.
Yeah.
So finally, once we were able to have enough money to eat right, I sat Rev down and I'm like, "Man, we've got to change how we eat." And we still eat well. I don't know. I mean, most people who know me, that I'm a big cook. I love cooking and I love bacon, and I wrap everything in bacon, and that's kind of what I'm known for. But we eat well. We just we eat primal. So look it up. That's kind of our lifestyle. It's like paleo, only you can eat a little bit of cheese, basically.
It's not raw meat.
No raw meat.
Okay.
I might eat raw meat. I wouldn't look down on it. I guess I eat sushi.
Yeah.
But no rice, no potatoes.
We talked to Dan Deacon once, and this guy was carrying around a jar with like a raw steak in it that he said was his lunch that he was just going to eat.
Yeah, no, I'm not that hardcore. I bet you Rev would.
Yeah.
But,
after he skinned it himself.
Yep.
Why do you guys stay in Indiana?
Because I love Indiana. My family's here. We could live anywhere we want. And, we've had that discussion. We have that discussion kind of every year. It's like, but this is also, it's the crossroads of America. Or at least that used to be our motto. What is it now? Like honest to goodness or whatever.
Really?
Some horrible new logo for Indiana, but
I thought it was the pagan capital. I thought that was our motto.
But it's a great location for a touring musician. We're in the middle of everything. We're close to some big cities. We're not that far from the East Coast and a day drive to the West Coast. So it's really a good spot. If there's any other place I'd live, it'd be Key West, but that's just a little too far away from everything to live there.
It's very far away.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to ask. Back on the weight thing. Is that hard? Because I've been trying to do that myself recently. I realized I'm getting a big gut.
It's not, because, we almost all do it. Like our crew has started kind of eating that way as well. And Ben, he can't give up beer, but
that's my
for the
problem.
most part, he follows it.
That's my
I don't
problem.
drink beer. I'm a whiskey girl, but beer is for men and whores, and whiskey is for ladies and gentlemen. So I'm a whiskey girl, so I have my whiskey with a little squirt of lime or lemon, and it's breaking the rules a tiny bit, but that's about all I break in the rules. But no, it's really not. Our rider every night is food that we can eat and snack on, and it's a little bit of work, that's for sure, but the rewards are so much better. We feel so much better. I used to be sick all the time on tour. It was rough, and so was Rev, and we didn't feel super great, and now we feel like $1 million, and we can do anything.
Yeah, I cut out fried foods. That's the main thing that I've been trying to do. Although I didn't, which I'll tell you this though, last night I ate grilled tenderloin. It's just not the same.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's not the same at all. And I swear I ate
there
like 3 of them.
There are very sad Indiana foods that I miss a lot, and that a big fried Indiana tenderloin is definitely one.
Yeah, I think keeping it off, like keeping the weight off is the hardest part, I think. Because you can lose it, but then you just, I don't know. Yeah, beer is my personal problem. As far as the weight loss goes, I count the calories, and 90% of it is beer.
Yeah, well, Rep doesn't drink at all, and I don't drink a whole lot, but in this business, it'd be very easy to be an alcoholic. We're in a bar every night, and if you drink every time you're in a bar, then as a true musician, you're probably an alcoholic, because that would mean you're drinking every night.
Yeah.
So it's, I lay back and have, I might have a drink or two when we're home from tour, but I don't do it much on tour just because it's, it's a job too. And I want to be able to give 100%. And we never drink before a show. That's kind of our rule. I've seen so many bands get drunk before a show and just really put on a shitty performance. And I don't think that's fair to your fans.
Yeah, no, not
people
at all.
pay money, someone's paying $20, $30 to come see you at a show, and you get wasted and, barf on stage. It's not a cool thing.
Do you guys smoke weed?
I don't smoke weed.
You guys take the LSD, hash oil?
No, we don't take the LSD.
No.
We don't take the LSD. We don't smoke the weed. Yeah. About the only vice Reverend Peyton has is coffee. He loves espresso. So that's kind of our vice on the road. And then obviously I love good whiskey every once in a while, but
I like that you guys don't seem too judgy on it. I haven't heard any lyrics that really talk bad against alcoholics or anything. I mean, obviously he seems to have a problem with the cocaine on that one song.
Yeah. I think that's more experience. We see so many people who are, coked out on the road and leaving their kids behind and stuff. It's kind of a sad state. A lot of people who work in bars and travel like that, and they end up kind of dipping into it too much and end up throwing away a lot of their life. So I think that's mainly what that song's about. That song's about someone in specific, but
yeah,
I won't say who that is. But
when are you guys? I asked Rev this a while ago when Jason Webley was at Radio. And I think it was like right when you guys got signed, shortly after you got signed to Side One Dummy. And when are you guys going to be on the late night circuit? On late night TV?
That's a good question. I can't answer that question because we've got stuff kind of working right now. We were actually supposed to do...
That's what he said like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was in the works, yeah. But we actually have some big news coming out in the next couple months I'm not allowed to talk about, but
nice.
Hopefully that is part of it as well.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we haven't seen Jason Webley for a while, but he's back he took his, year and a half sabbatical, basically. He came and visited us during that time, but he's back to playing again, so I'm hoping he'll come out Indiana and play another show.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we love seeing him.
Yeah, I love Jason. He's one of my favorite people that we've toured with over time.
Do you have a favorite venue in this? That's kind of a bad thing to ask. Would you have,
in Indiana?
Not a favorite venue, but I'll phrase it politely to where you won't be hating on anyone. What places do you like going in Indianapolis to play music?
I mean, I really like when we play at the Vogue. It's always good shows. Things have changed over the years a lot in that area, but my favorite show that we do in Indiana is when we do the State Fair.
But out of all of them, I really love the Melody Inn the most.
I love the State Fair. I love that it's an all-ages show. We've got a lot of fans that, found us through Warped Tour and things like that, and they can't come see us at the Vogue. So anytime we can play an all-ages show or a festival, That's my favorite.
Yeah, I saw it. You guys put on one hell of a show this year at the State Fair.
Yeah, I like playing outdoors. My favorite shows are generally outdoors, so.
And I love seeing people's reaction to you guys, because there's a fair amount of people who still don't know who you guys are in this city. And when you're up there on the State Fair, like I kind of sat at the back, and it started off kind of empty. And then people just started filling the bleachers, and people just started coming in and dancing, and they had no idea who you were, but the music just, it fucking pulled them in. I think
I love playing State Fair.
Yeah, you guys have a great sound.
One of my favorite shows. I'm not sure if we'll do it this year. Our new album probably will be coming out around that time, so I'm not sure.
What's the name of the new
album? I think we might
album?
actually be on the West Coast. It is untitled as of the moment.
I was trying to get some special information.
Yeah, no, I mean, we haven't even really talked about it that much. Usually it's one of the last things we decide.
That's another thing.
We're recording next month, actually, so it's not completely recorded right now or anything.
Are you guys doing that in town?
We're probably doing it in Bloomington. We're getting it all worked out this week. So,
I like the fact that you guys can you sell? Can you get your shit in Best Buy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can get it at most stores.
I like that you do the in stores at the local. You go to all the local independent shops.
Yeah, that's where we push it. We try to push it at local record stores. Those are the places that are really pushing our album. Best Buy they might carry. In some small towns where they don't have a local record store, that's a place where people can get ours. But the majority of people are going to be buying it at a local record store at one of our shows, or probably on the iTunes or something like that. So.
All right. Well.
Yeah, we usually do the in-store tour the week of our release so that we can do free all-ages shows, and then it kind of helps out those places, too. We always try to support Indie CD and Vinyl in Indianapolis has always been very supportive of our albums and helped us out greatly, so we usually try to throw them a bone and do our kickoff there.
I got a fan question for you. What was it like hanging out with Andrew WK?
Oh, he was awesome. He and his wife, Sherry, became good friends. Yeah, he's real fun. He's a lot more mellow than you think.
Yeah, yeah.
People are always like, "Was he just crazy party?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, he's party too, but his wife's a big fitness instructor, and so it's not quite as party as you."
She does
but
house
they're really great people, and he was one of our favorite people to tour with on Warped Tour because a lot of the bands that play Warped Tour aren't generally my cup of tea. And it was a little bit like being raped in the ear every day by some of the bands. So I always look forward to listening to him.
Yeah, how are those casualties treating you?
Yeah.
Hey, you motherfuckers.
God, those guys. Yeah.
Those guys actually, they're pretty good guys.
I'm sure they're good guys, but I just, I would say that I like punk rock.
Hey, Red sat in with them on Warped Tour a handful of times.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He just played a Ramones song with them, but
that would be great.
Why is that online?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you can probably get it on YouTube.
All right.
Yeah,
nice.
In fact, the day that Rev got a chemical burn in his eye on Warped Tour when we were in Canada, and that day, he didn't know. His eye was just killing him. He did a show with the Casualties that day. He played with Pretty Reckless, which is Taylor Momsen from Gossip Girl, her band. And he sat in with Andrew WK that day. And in the videos, you can tell that, Rev just looks like he's out of it. And it's because his eye's burning so bad, he didn't know what was going on. And we ended up having to go to an ER that night. And he had to play the rest of the tour in an eye patch. So now when we return to those towns, all the Warped Tour kids are disappointed that he doesn't always have an eye patch. It was some ironic hipster thing. He's like, no, I had to wear it because I hurt my eye.
What'd he get in his eye?
We don't know. I mean, Warped Tour is a dirty place, so it could be anything. And you're constantly using hand sanitizer. So they think that it could have been a chemical like that, and maybe when he was sleeping, he touched his eye or something and got it in it. Yeah, he says it's the most pain he's ever been in. He's had, some serious surgeries, sinus surgeries and hand surgeries and stuff, and he said he would do those a dozen times over before he had to deal with a chemical burn again. So.
Wow. Yeah, anybody who's listening to this, go Google that hand story. I think I saw it in an article on Wikipedia. That's a great story about the Rev's hands and the guitar. So go check that out. I think that's really all I got. think that's all I got. Thank you so much for your
thanks
time.
for inviting me on.
No, yeah, thanks for coming on.
Well, cool. You guys have a great day.
We don't know how to end these. Well, we're out of time.
Thank you, Breezy.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, have a good night.
From the Chris Brake Show podcast.